Congratulations to New Zealand for taking second place in the Rugby Championship for this year. They played an exceptional game today on their home turf, and the standout for me was Caleb Clark. That guy is an absolute machine, and I've just really been loving his quality of play, as I've talked about in other videos. But New Zealand, they put on a clinic today, and they know they fell behind early with the early try by Mick Wright and Lolosio with the conversion. But before half, New Zealand took the lead and they did not look back, and they just fought tooth and nail. Their attacking looked strong, defensively played strong, and I feel like this is the time we saw New Zealand, take advantage of that last 20 minutes of the game, getting some tries in there. And I just, really loved watching this match and just the electricity in that stadium. It was like I've said it before, you could feel it through the screen, and you could tell that New Zealanders were excited, and it was a brilliant way to close out this rugby championship. And it was the game that they needed, I feel, to give them that boost going into, I would say that it's not really an off season, but going into their next matches, whenever they may be. And I have to look at the schedule upcoming, but it was a dominant way to close out the rugby championship, beating Australia, and they beat them 33-13. So I really enjoyed this match, and all the players showed out. We had Will Jordan doing his thing. We had Beauden Barrett doing it. Sivu Reese, really loving the way he's playing. He's came on my radar as I'm learning more about the starting lineups within New Zealand. Sivu Reese, Satithi is absolutely incredible young talent, and I just feel like every week I just see him continuing to improve, and I just hear his name over and over and over. And just a young superstar up and coming. Rico Ioane playing incredible as always. I just love his attacking, his defense. Very smart and talented player, and I'm excited to see the All Blacks in person again, whenever that will be. And my hope is to get to the Rugby Championship and experience these matches in every stadium worldwide in all of these 4 countries. It'll be, the honor of my life to do that and connect with you as well. But now, who else do we have? Let me look what I had. We had Satithi Perenara. I love Perenara, man. That dude, he is a fire plug in the game. He plays tough, gritty. I've seen him fight for turnovers, even last game, creating turnovers. Just a fire plug, and that dude is tough dude, man. I love watching him. Tamati Williams gets a try today, and it was just an all-around game for New Zealand. I still feel like there's room for improvement, but man, I'm loving seeing them grow. I love loving seeing them grow, and I'm glad they had a more well-rounded match today from the beginning to the end. And they, usually the first team scoring the try. I know Australia scored early, but it showed the heart of that New Zealand nation and All Blacks. They fought back, and they got in the lead in half, and they did not look back. And all of the stars showed up for this one, Qrew. So we're gonna jump into the stats real quick and take a look at this. But congratulations to New Zealand, and for pulling second in this rugby championship. And I'm looking forward to seeing them continue to improve and grow, and seeing their lineup evolve. They're a fun team to watch. And also, congratulations to Australia for bringing up the quality of their play of rugby as well. I know they're at a point to where they're still building, but I felt like they've grown and they developed and they start to gel as a unit and as a team. And I've seen their quality of their play come up with this rugby championship, and it just feels like that camaraderie is getting there, that experience with one another is continuing to develop, and it's going to be fun to watch them grow through this World Cup cycle over these next few years. But let's jump into the stats and take a look at this, Qrew. So we know New Zealand takes the win 33-13 over Australia in a beautiful atmosphere at Sky Stadium. Fun to watch. In starting out, looking at this point flow chart, Australia scored early within that first 7 minutes, and then we saw New Zealand battle back and get into the game. And they did lose the lead before half, but then they took it over with the try, and they never looked back from there, closing the match out in style. 56 minutes in the lead compared to 18 over Australia. Percentage in the lead, the All Blacks take it with 69% over 22. And the last 10-minute possession time, 57% for the All Blacks compared to 47% for Australia. Looking at the key events of the game, we had Mick Wright from Australia scoring at the 7th minute. Lolosio gets the conversion. Then we had Sivu Reese getting a try. Beauden missed the conversion. And then we had a penalty goal by Lolosio at the 18th minute, making the score 5-10. But this is when Will Jordan came to life, man. At the 21st minute, Will Jordan broke through, beautiful line with an amazing try, setting it 10-10. and then Beauden Barrett puts the All Blacks ahead for the first time in the match, 12-10 at the 22nd minute. Lolosio regains the lead for Australia at the 36th minute with his penalty goal, making it 13-12. Caleb Clark, and going into half, well, right at the halftime whistle, scoring the try, setting it 17-13 at the 40th minute. Beauden gets that conversion, making it 19-13 going into the half. And then, New Zealand never looked back from that point. We had Tamaiti Williams scoring at the 54th minute, 24-13. Barrett gets the conversion. Caleb Clark at the 63rd minute. And it was nice to see Caleb Clark getting that try in the 63rd, because that's where New Zealand has had that fall off in this rugby championship. But they put it together. They found that form, and it was good to see them put points on within the last 2 quarters of the second half. And Caleb Clark initiated that, setting the score 31-13. Barrett gets the conversion. And then we have Caleb Clark getting a yellow card at the 76th minute. But an absolute fun game to watch, and a awesome way to close out the rugby championship. And it was fun to see, as I mentioned, to me the highlight was, New Zealand scoring within that last 20 minutes of the match. And that's just going to be that. I think like that, I would say it, maybe not, but in my eyes, I think that's that light at the end of the tunnel of sense, like we're on the right path and we're starting to put things together, because they looked very disciplined. They played consistent. They played hard. And that's the side of rugby that I feel that New Zealand has developed, and they're continuing they're developing as they're growing into this rugby championship and making it happen. And so it's nice to see them score within that 20th minute, and giving them that spark and for their upcoming matches in any tests that they have upcoming. So congratulations to New Zealand for an amazing game, and congratulations to Australia for being a formidable opponent and really stepping up their quality of rugby in this rugby championship, I feel. Looking at the 22-meter entries, 10-7, New Zealand wins that, and New Zealand had 3.3 average points scored compared to 1.4 points scored for Australia. Looking at the attacking profile, New Zealand won every category. 10-7 for 22-meter entries. We saw 3.3 22-meter conversions compared to 1.43 for Australia. 9-4 line breaks. New Zealand takes that. 155 carries to 143. And they tied in kicks with 14. And post-meter contacts, 324 post-meter contacts compared to 206. Looking at the defensive profile, we had 10 dominant tackles for New Zealand compared to 2 for Australia. 169 tackles made to 180 for Australia, because Australia was on their heels and New Zealand was attacking the majority of the game. Tackles missed, both tied at 24. Turnovers won, 9-5. Tackle turnovers, or 9-5, excuse me. New Zealand takes that category. 3 tackle turnovers compared to 2 for Australia. And then tackle offloads allowed. Australia wins this category, takes this category, 17-19. So they allowed more offloads in New Zealand. Looking at ruck speed, 60-58 within that 0 to 3 second ruck range, and the 3 to 6 range, 29%. They're both tied in that category, and 6+ seconds, 7 for Australia, 6 to New Zealand. And the total rucks won, 114 for Australia compared to 111 for New Zealand. The last 5 penalties of the match, 3 for New Zealand and 2 for Australia. Let's look at these stats and see more of an in-depth of the entire match. So looking at penalty goals, 2 penalty goals for Australia compared to 0 for New Zealand. 5 total tries for New Zealand compared to 1 for Australia. 4 conversions to 1. New Zealand takes that. No drop goals for any side. 155 carries to 143. All Blacks take it. Total line breaks, 9-4 for the All Blacks. Total turnovers lost, 15-12. Australia had more turnovers lost, and turnovers won go to the All Blacks. 9 turnovers won compared to 5. Looking at the entire territory of the entire game, 51% compared to 49%. Australia had more territory, but New Zealand was doing more with their possessions that they had, putting more points on the board and taking more advantage of that possession time. If we're looking at the possession time for the All Blacks, starting from their own 22, it goes 4, 24, 46, then 26. So New Zealand was really heavy in the 50-meter entry for Australia with that 46%, and then with their 26% in that 22-meter entry area. And looking at the Wallabies, it goes from their 22, 7, 18, 34, and 41. And so they were in the 22-meter entry the most of New Zealand, but they weren't effective in converting and turning those into points. So in the last 10 minutes, 57% for possession time for the All Blacks compared to 43 for Australia. Looking at the possession time or possession total, we had 53% compared to 47%. All Blacks take that category. Total set plays, scrums, 7 scrums compared to 5. Australia takes that. 100% of the scrum win percentage for the All Blacks compared to 86 for the Wallabies. 17 lineouts for the Wallabies compared to 14 for the All Blacks. Lineout wins, 86% compared to 82%. All Blacks take that category. Restarts received, 6-4 for the All Blacks. And then both sides had 100% winning percentage for the restarts received. Looking at the attacking, we saw that a little bit earlier on the page. We'll just go through it. It's all dominated by the All Blacks. 202 passes compared to 193. 155 ball carries to 143, 324 meter post-meter contacts compared to 206 for the Wallabies, and 9 line breaks to compared to 4. The All Blacks take the attacking profile on that one. Turnovers won, 9 for the All Blacks, 5 for Australia. And then turnovers lost, 15 for the Wallabies, 12 for the All Blacks. And for as far as penalties, we're looking at 13 penalties conceded by the All Blacks to 10 for the Wallabies. 1 yellow card for the All Blacks, 0 for Australia, and no yellow cards for either side. And overall, just a fun match to watch, a way to close out the Rugby Championship. Loved every second of this, and I hope to get over to all of the countries, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and Argentina, to experience this next year in person. That would be an honor. That'd be a blessing. It'd be nice to connect with you all in person. Overall, I really loved and enjoyed this Rugby Championship. I feel that every side put on, and it was just so enjoyable to watch. And I want to thank you all for continuing to support me and continue to educate me every video. You continue to teach me something new every day, every week. And, I still feel like I'm a beginner in this world of rugby. And with your expertise and all of your knowledge and your friendship, you've continued to help me grow. And just thank you just for being here as always. I want to hear your thoughts on this match between New Zealand and Australia. What are your thoughts? What are your highlights of this game? And what are your highlights of the entire Rugby Championship? I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. But that'll do it for this video, crew. In our description, be sure to drop into our QSN Rugby Discord. We talk offline, connect, and build our friendship and relationship. I'm looking forward to chatting with you in there. But that'll do it for this video, crew. I love you. I appreciate you. And remember to always stay laser focused on your dreams and your vision. And remember that you're in control. We'll catch you on the next one, all right? Peace.